I would say my experience at the shitty Staten Island Zoo is better than Disneyland. And that's my recommendation. Instead of going to Disneyland, get your ass to Staten Island and go to the zoo, and it's not even going to take you all day, which is good because you're going to want to get the hell out of Staten Island.
Yeah, you also just called it the shitty zoo. So go to the shitty zoo. You'll have a better time than Disneyland.
Oh,
right.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
I
why
was
I
wondering
moved
about
out.
that because you were born and raised in New York, right?
Yeah, I grew up on Staten Island.
Right on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is your you both just went, oh, okay, but what is your concept of Staten? I'm always I never know.
I actually just went like, I didn't have anything behind it. It was more like,
Oh, okay, just a polite
thing, but I
acknowledgement.
really don't.
That's actually pretty perfect for Staten
Oh,
Island.
okay.
A polite acknowledge,ment
Yeah.
and then we move on.
I mean,
was one of
is
those
it
polite
the
ones, like-
suburbs? Is it the New York suburbs? Is that kind of what it is? Like, it's not the big buildings bit.
It's one of the boroughs or no?
No,
It is. Is it what? One
Like
of the
one of the,
boroughs?
like-
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
but that's more like.
but it's the suburban area. It's like homes
It
and
is.
family
It is.
life.
It's kind of like if Brooklyn were newer and shittier.
right. Okay. All right. Yeah.
So, but did you ever have time?
Because it's a suburb, but it's a suburb of Manhattan.
Right.
But it's also very provincial because it's an island. So there are people on Staten Island that even though you can see Manhattan,
They don't travel.
they just never go there.
Right.
Oh,
And
God.
and as somebody growing up there, and you always had ambitions of acting, did you think that your big move would be to get to the
Oh,
city?
totally.
Get
I
to
used
that
to.
city in the distance.
I
and
went
then-
to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in Manhattan,
Oh,
and
right,
I would
yeah.
be in the city and taking acting classes, and and then in the evening I would take the ferry from the city, and I'd be on the ferry pulling, and it's really very beautiful when you're, looking at the city and you're pulling away. And I used to think someday I'm not gonna have to be on this fucking boat, and I'm
Right.
going to live in that
I don't have to
concrete
take,
jungle.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool.
And
That's-
instead, Ugly Betty called, and you went, all right, fuck it. Turns out I'm going to the
Yeah.
sunshine.
Yeah, which I thought was just gonna be temporary.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
you didn't. Oh, you thought it was after just for the show, and then you were gonna come back to Manhattan or Staten Island, or like kind of like.
At that point, I lived in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
in
in
Park
Brooklyn.
Slope,
Okay, nice.
which is actually a very nice.
Yeah.
area.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
I still consider myself like temporarily.
From-
here.
Do you? And it's been well over a
It's,
decade.
at some point, my tenure here will be
well,
over.
since you're a true like New
I'm
Yorker.
guilty of doing that too. I still feel my apartment is. I told myself this is my first apartment in LA, and here I am 5 years later. I'm like, I'm still in it. I'm like, it's one of those things of, I appear to be in year 20 of my 5-year plan. I think it's going along nicely.
And since you're like a true New Yorker, like, what do you prefer? Like, because you live here for a while. I mean,
It's they're so incomparable. It's like it's apples and oranges, like here, the weather, of course, I think that's the main thing. And also there's mountains nearby, there's beaches.
yeah.
But New York, like, I prefer the culture in New York. I liked when I used to live there, like being on the subway and being a part of it and people watching and all of the culture. Not that LA doesn't have culture, but it doesn't have the architecture. It's not LA is like land of the strip mall.
Also, the grit of New York, you can romanticize it. Sometimes these cities, like I lived in London for a long time, so to me, London was like my New York. But it can be dirty, but it's also almost a nice dirty. Whereas in LA, when you're in a dirty pit of LA, it's fucking gross.
Yeah,
It's not spread out. It's not spread out.
That's so well put. The dirt and grime of Manhattan has a romantic quality to it. In LA, it just sucks. There's no getting around it.
Yeah, it smells extra pungent and it sticks to you for an extra day. What the hell's going on, man?
But that is true. I do like. I'm the same. I've never lived in New York, but I was like, I would love to live at least for like a year, because I do every time I go there to go do shows, and I love the energy that you're walking and you're like in the in the subway and watching and people watching, and then it just gives you that energy that you gotta move. Here it's kind of like, well, you can just stay in your place and you don't move at all. So it's like there's no reason
and New York sort of forces you to make shit happen. Yes. Whereas in LA it's so sprawling and you can sort of exist. And
you lose your ambitions. You're like, look, these homeless people are outside in the sunshine. They seem to be having a good time. What's the worst that can happen if I continue to roll the dice in this town?
Yeah, which I always go like for those homeless people. I go like, which one was the one that was like that came with a dream too? And kind of like they're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna like chill here. That's to me when I see the film, I'm like, at least that gives me a little push of like, I gotta keep working. I don't want to end up here doing this shit.
Again, we have a serious issue with the homeless in this city. Not to make light of it or anything, but
no, it's everywhere. I mean,
I actually just saw a great documentary that I have to recommend on Netflix called I think it's called Lead Me Home, about homelessness, and it covers mostly Los Angeles and San Francisco. And it's crazy living in Los Angeles, and you see the homeless problem everywhere. Yeah. This documentary was so good because it features like a couple of different homeless people, and you learn the stories of how they wound up there, and you sort of like and it's so, the cinematography is amazing. There's no narration. Which is always a good sign, I think, for a documentary. And you see the humanity. It's upsetting. It's very upsetting. But like while I was watching it, I was thinking, oh shit, this is you just have that feeling that this is an important documentary, and it's just very good. So I'll
watch it because it makes you understand more what they're going through. Right?
And it's also like really beautifully shot, and it's you know what? I don't even think I can pitch it in a way that does it justice. I'll just leave it at.
What's it called again?
It was very compelling.
Lead Me Home.
Very compelling.
Well, that's a great reference for it. I mean,
Is there an ending, like because I'm always with the documentaries, like, is there like a thing where like, well, after 4 years, he's working?
A little summary?
I will say that it ends in a way that's not unsatisfying, but it's also like, it's also not like a feel-good movie.
Story,
So, but it does. But there's a glimmer of hope or just sort of humanity.
Sounds like a good little empathetic lesson for the for what people go through.
That's a good one to watch when you're by yourself.
Which I have plenty of experience.
Maybe I'll watch it like right now that I'm gonna be gone alone. I mean, like I can, those are the ones.
Next time you're like, screw it. But it's the homeless people that look like they're having a good time.
I do, buddy. I have. So what I want to ask you. So a professionally trained actor, growing up in New York. Then Ugly Betty calls, and that's your move to California. And you did think it was temporary, but when you get cast in a show like that, and you have to move across country, what kind of provisions does a company usually provide you? Like, do you come to Los Angeles going, I'll live in a hotel for a while because this is just temporary, or do you bring roommates with? Do you build an entourage instantly?
I was married. I had just gotten married.
Oh.
Yeah.
And we just moved out here and rented a place. There was no. You mean provisions that like the studio provides?
Yeah, like sometimes if the studio is like, we'll put you up in the hotel for the month.
Maybe I should have asked for
you can demand those kind of things.
No, it's just sort of. Just moved out here, looked for a place, and started renting a place. So I got nothing special.
And then all of a sudden you become anchored here.
Yeah. Well, right when that ended, I wound up doing a recurring thing on The Big Bang Theory. Right. And then that eventually turned into a series regular thing. And then that show just ended like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then COVID struck.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm still here temporarily. As soon as this COVID thing we get handled, I'm going back. No, I think I'm here for a while. It's just, I was gonna say it's easier to be in the business here. Because you could be in the room, but really, COVID changed so
game,
much
yeah.
of that. Now everything is you're self-taping.
Yeah, you're even having callbacks or producer sessions in Zoom,
Yeah.
which is so it's kind of
which
like
is such a crazy.
it is a
thing.
weird, yeah. But the
Yeah.
worst is when you're like you're done with it and then you're just in your house, because at least. You know, like when I audition, you know, you go to the thing and then you go, like, at least you're driving going, like, what the fuck did I do? Or, like, at least you go get a coffee or, like, but then it's even more sad when you're just in your living room going, like, what the fuck happened?
Especially in this era of online gigs, because as comedians, we've done a few of these online gigs during the pandemic, and they're not, you know, you're not getting the best response at the best of times, even when they leave a few people's mics on so that they can give you some laughs or whatever. But still, exactly what you're talking about. When you're done, you're like, okay, good night. and then you're just like, where the fuck do I go? Walk to my kitchen?
Yeah.
Oh, God, you're in it. Could you imagine, like, dying if you die on stage? Or, well, it's not even dying on stage. It's just not being, it's not having the best experience. You know, it's just a mediocre
I have
experience.
to.
And then you have to sit there in your gig. Oh, yeah, this is where it all happened.
Yeah.
Right here. Right through that.
That's what it's worth. I mean, like, I think it's good in one way, but it's also kind of like, you know, you want to also feel, at least see, you know, I think the energy that you feel in the room.
Well, it's got to be harder for you guys for doing.
Yeah,
stand-up.
I mean, for
So
stand-up,
it's all
it's
about the feedback.
I don't even call it like stand-up. I call it kind of like we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how I kind of like now do it, because I learned to do it, obviously, during COVID.
A monologue.
I mean, it is. I mean, you cannot have the quickness. You cannot feel like, because you don't know if, like, are they listening? Are they paying attention? Are they getting me? Is it the connection, the delay? You know, it's all this stuff that you're like, and sometimes.
So has it really shaped your whole like process and the way you deliver comedy?
Not for me, just while to do like Zoom shows and stuff like that. With stand up now, like once, you know, now that I'm doing it all the time, it's like, it's just. You know, it hasn't.
You're back and doing it live.
Yeah.
Some of the shows are coming.
Yeah, all
back
the
right
shows.
now.
Do they require people to be vaccinated?
Yeah, like here, like I perform here, and like you have to be, like all in LA. I think you have to be most rooms. You have to be like.
In some places, the audience still have to wear masks. I think it was Milwaukee or Minnesota. I was in a couple weeks ago, and they're all still masked up in the venue.
Yeah,
I think Milwaukee.
I would like that. I'm very paranoid about.
Right.
No, me too. I mean, that's why I didn't travel until I got my vaccine until like last year, and then especially because all the only road gigs that were open were like in Texas or like Florida or whatever. So I'm like, So I was like that even more. I mean, I want to get vaxxed for that. So, and even my first trip was actually to DC to do it in Virginia, and like. And even in the plane, I was like, you know, it was packed. You know, everyone was wearing the mask, but there was one guy next to me, like, having eating a cookie, but he was like, ugh, and then he was like, and then, like, he had the thing for it. But at that point, I'm going like, well, I'm glad that I'm back, because I felt protected. If not, I would have been like, oh, I couldn't have done this at all.
The whole restaurant thing, too, is so crazy, where you go in, and when you're standing by the thing where it says a hostess will seat you, you know, you've got the mask on, but then like you bring you to your table and you go through the invisible magical barrier and you're allowed to just sit there with your mask off, and you're like 10 feet away from the beer. It's so crazy.
Yeah, once that happened, I was like, it was me and my fiance, we were going like, I'm if it's not outside, I'm not eating there. Like, what's the point? Like, I'm not gonna eat inside to be like, because it was, it felt ridiculous to be like, well, here and here, no. Like, outside, unless it's like, okay, there's air flowing. I'm like, if you're there, I just felt safe. But like, the inside one didn't make sense to me either, And like, you're sitting there.
I completely agree. And it's really weird when you're at these hybrid venues now, and the inside is more packed, and you're like, why isn't everybody making the smart decision to be out here in the fresh air? Right now.
Yeah. And then, so I was reading that you have 4 brothers or
3 brothers.
3 brothers, so 4 including you. So I wanted, like, when you were growing up, like, any family trips that you would do, like, is there one that you remember that was like?
Oh yeah, because in New York, by the way, I tried to go camping in New York once on a family holiday from Nova Scotia, and you could only camp if you were from New York in this campsite that we went to. Yeah,
where
it was only for New Yorkers.
Wow.
So we had driven in.
Right.
So I'm wondering if that's a thing in
How do
Staten
they know
Island.
that you weren't from New York?
Probably our license plates and accents. I would guess.
All right.
I've never really I've never gone camping, like sleeping
Right.
outside.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never done that.
That is a way to sum up camp. That's pretty much
Yeah,
does it right there.
well, you could do glamping. Have you done glamping? Have you considered I like that too. I'm not so big of a fan
Where
of
you like stay in the woods during the day and then go to a motel or something?
No, glamping I haven't done it yet, but I guess it's like it's like camping, but it's like you have like a nice cabin or nice room, whatever.
Yeah,
and then
like
you're
a motor home or like
yeah,
a more
but it's got like
glamorous.
Wi-Fi shit, you know, you got all this stuff, but then you're like, oh yeah, I'm outside, but you don't sleep outside.
No. I haven't done that.
There's no amount of glamour that can make you want to sleep outside. So even if I tell you, I've got the nicest setup for you.
Yeah,
Barbecue will turn on just like
true
that.
glamour for me is not having to go, and I don't want to be out in the woods, nor do I want to be in a trailer. That's
a true hypochondriac. You don't like to be.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, look, I guess, compared to like New York City subway filth, I'll take nature dirt.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But
fair enough.
yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've just never gone camping. I don't know what to tell you guys.
I know. I never.
No,
had
me neither. I mean, I haven't. I don't think I've. Maybe when I was little, like this little camp, but nothing like. I'm not a big fan also of like staying outside and like sleeping. Like I'm. I like I'll do it outside, but then I was like, all right, I want to go back to my hotel. Like
Yeah,
I'm cool with that. I mean, but. People. Yeah, it's just the preferences. That's never been my thing. I mean, I'm a little also like, and it's not such a hypochondriac, but it's more about like I just don't. I like, sleeping good. You know
some
what I mean?
creature
Or, like,
comforts.
Yeah. So, but so any like trips when you were with your family, with your brothers growing up, that you were like,
my parents were teachers and they had
Okay.
4 kids, so
Oh,
we
wow.
weren't going on a lot of fancy trips. Like I've never been to Disney World. What? Am I sound?
So I was
am
just
I
checking.
am
I
I
was
too
just
far away?
checking with him. I just started checking. Okay, maybe a little.
How
bit.
can you even see in there?
I can see him.
Oh, there's somebody there, right.
Oh yeah, I see hands.
So you went to Disney World?
No, I'm saying we
Oh.
didn't. Like I've never been to Disney World.
Oh,
I don't even
really?
know
Oh.
what that's like. I've been to Disneyland,
But
which as an adult. So not having, this is my theory, is not having been to Disney World,
Yeah.
Right.
which people love.
Yeah.
Like going to Disneyland as an adult with zero nostalgia, because I never did it as a
Yeah,
kid.
you didn't have that.
I didn't
There's
get
no
it.
connection.
And like it, yeah, I was like, maybe for a little kid, but this sucks as an adult. The only thing that I liked was the rides and attractions that were like holdovers that they just never got around to redoing.
Oh,
And
so,
so-
like real classics.
Yeah,
that you
so
would've-
it had like this real old like 50s like art style and
Yeah.
kind of janky, and I thought that was really interesting. Like a
Yeah.
Disneyland from a bygone era.
Yeah.
That was the only thing about it that I enjoyed, and not enough to hang out there all day and wait on endless lines.
Right. Yeah.
I did go. I mean, actually, my first trip to the U.S. was coming to Disney World.
Oh, yeah?
'cause we were
Oh,
still
that
in
must have been
Venezuela,
amazing.
And it was like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was like 8 or 9, and like, and yeah, I mean, that was the first
That's
thing that we
perfect.
did. So we went to Disney World, went to Epcot Center, all the ones in
Yeah.
Orlando.
Did it blow your mind as an 8-year-old?
Yeah, I mean, I remember it was. I mean, obviously it was fun. The thing that I remember the most is like we actually my mom and my aunt, like they rented a motorhome so to drive from Miami to Orlando, like a little like. So that I remember that was cool because that wasn't a thing that in Venezuela we never
Yeah.
had, and then I remember also like we lost. My mom couldn't. I remember after we were done, we couldn't find the rental car, and we were like. So it was like, it's at midnight because you went till midnight for the
Yeah.
parade and
Oh
the
my
fireworks, and they
God.
were like looking for the rental car, and we couldn't. We
At
didn't
Disney World.
in the
my
parking lot, and we're like,
God.
was it
Yeah.
Goofy or was it Pluto?
Oh man.
Or
to
was
not
it
be able to
Mickey?
remember that
And we remember
stupid
driving
character's
around
name.
for
That's
like
happened to me like that here in LA, probably at like Warner Brothers or something. One of those parking lots with the endless floors, and just If you forget where you parked, it's so traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get there and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh no,
just,
I'm gonna have to wait for everybody to leave.
Yeah.
Well, we
So I
actually
can
had to
see
like
my
wait
car.
to get, and then I think a security guard came and drove like with those little golf carts. I had to drive my mom around.
Oh,
You know, to
Oh,
finally
yeah.
find the car. You
That's
know,
right.
Wow, I wonder how many times do you think that happens a
Oh,
day
that
at
happens
Disney
a lot,
World?
all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
They
I would-
probably employ people whose job
Yeah.
it is to drive
Yeah.
around and help people find their.
The golf cart guy. What's your job over at Disney? I'm the golf cart guy. You know how there's at least one in every 100 people won't remember that they're parked. at
I'd have to
fucking-
agree with you. I mean, I think Disneyland is definitely was the original. So like Disney World is much better because I've been to Disneyland. I'm like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I haven't even been back to Disney World since that. But I think it's definitely just
Yeah.
So you didn't
I
go
did
there as
like.
a kid, but did your parents take you somewhere and try to build it up like it was a Disneyland? Did they try to go, welcome to
We would go
This
to
is
the
Manhattan.
zoo. We would go to the zoo, and that
Oh,
was
that's-
that was good.
oh,
The
that's
zoo was
cool.
great.
Yeah.
Even Staten Island doesn't even have a great zoo, but I would say my experience at the shitty Staten Island Zoo is better than Disneyland. And that's my recommendation. Is instead of going to Disneyland, get your ass to Staten Island and go to the zoo, and it's not even going to take you all day,
And
which is
also-
good because you're going to want to get the hell
So
out of
is this-
Staten
Yeah,
Island.
you also just called it the shitty zoo. So go to the shitty zoo. You'll have a better time than Disneyland. A ringing
are
endorsement.
the
from
are
Kevin
the
Sussman.
animals at the Staten Island Zoo? Like, do they have attitude, or are they like? I want to go. Like what? Like,
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck you staring at?
Like, cause have you been here to the LA Zoo? Have you been to the LA Zoo here?
I haven't, and I live not far
That
from
one takes close for like an hour, so that's for you.
Oh,
like,
yeah?
it'd be
The
like-
one by not far from Griffith Park, right?
yeah. Like, so it's like that one's pretty quick. I mean, it's nice. I mean, but yeah, it's not big at all. It's kind of like
Yeah.
you go around.
And there's a museum there too, right? I live right near there.
A museum?
Yeah, they're like the Native American museum.
Oh, I don't
or
know
some the American West Museum. Something about
and you still haven't-
Frontier Museum. I don't know. Something about the Wild West. Something.
It's
about
there.
old.
It's right outside your door, and you haven't.
Next
Not
time-
only have you not been there, but you haven't learned exactly what it's called yet.
Next time I'm getting
You
the
really
mail.
don't get out. Like, never. Like, I don't think it's like, well, I've been here for 20 years. I haven't.
Next time I'm getting the mail, I'll check what the name of that museum is.
But it's also cool because I think during the holidays they have like lights. So like at night, like you can like there's like.
Oh
lights,
yeah, that's
light
right.
show or
Well,
something.
okay, so so there's this thing where if you're a child or a very bored adult, you can drive along this path. I think it's called Crystal Spring Road, something like that.
Is
Or
this here?
Possibly Zoo Drive.
Here in LA.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's what you were talking about,
Yeah,
right?
it's by the zoo. It's in the
Yeah,
zoo. Yeah, yeah.
and you drive through, and all these different, I think, companies, businesses, like they each have their own like light thing where they set up like Christmas lights and
Yeah.
different, make it nice.
Yeah,
Right.
And you just sort of drive through with your family. You don't get out of the car. And one day I had an appointment, and normally that's the shortcut to get to Burbank.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
I went in the evening when that thing was happening, and I missed my appointment
Oh.
because it turns in from a shortcut into an all-night affair where you're just
Parade.
slowly all the cars
That's
looking
hilarious.
at and it was by myself. It's like the type of thing that profoundly weird to go
Yeah.
through that light thing
That's
by,
funny.
by yourself.
That's funny. That's like, yeah, like you.
You can't even bail at that point, can you?
Yeah.
Can't
No, you
turn
couldn't
around.
turn around. So I was like, yeah. So you had to call him like, sorry, I'm stuck in this
Yeah.
parade. You're gonna have to miss my appointment.
That's
And,
rough.
and then when you like, when you travel for your gigs, you know, like as you say, you for work and stuff like that. Do you have any like? Are you like superstitious, or you like? Do you have any? And do you have any sentimental things that you bring with you when you travel?
I'm not superstitious.
Really, as a hypochondriac, you're not, because I'm
Yeah,
half.
surprised
I'm
by
half
that answer as well.
hypochondriac and I'm superstitious.
Yeah.
No, because I like to believe my hypochondria is based in science.
Okay.
You know, like,
Right. Okay.
That's why I'm half.
But the crazy thing is, as much as yes, I am a hypochondriac, but like I also, and the pandemic keeps like I keep being reminded of the fact that I really don't understand germs. Like, for example, like if I have a Dorito and I drop it on this table and I pick it up real quick, like what is the risk? Like, are we talking, you know, like
Pretty nil.
if there was a germ, like where are there germs on here right now? How long do they last? If someone comes in and they're, you know, they wipe their nose and then put their hand on this table, right? And I come in here tomorrow and I like wipe a Dorito on that, am I at risk?
Well,
maybe. Yeah, I think
at
so.
risk of excitement, I mean, Robin Williams and Pauly Shore were probably cutting cocaine on these puppies 20 years ago. So get yourself. You'll be like, wait, is that a virus? No, it's a residue. So
That's true. That's true. But actually, I mean, for me, it's like it changed with the whole pandemic because I didn't like now I cannot. If I'm gonna put anything with my hands in my mouth, like I gotta wash my hands. Like now I cannot. Like before, I didn't think about that, but now like I cannot do. And I'm still like I cannot like if there's Doritos and you're like, hey, let me have a Dorito. I'm like, or I have to grab a napkin. I cannot go now and not wash my hands and then eat something with my hand. I feel like
What if the whole pandemic is a big scam by like the moisturizer industry? They like invented this whole thing to sell moisturizer.
But we're going to QAnon shit, man.
Here we go into conspiracy theories. Well, because I have to travel next week and I'm already tired of paying for these PCR tests because you have to get I'm traveling to Canada. So I have to get a PCR test, which is a couple $100.
We can go to the one that I went to. It's free.
And
with your insurance.
Coming back, it'll be a couple $100. It'll be covered on my insurance leaving.
Okay.
But not coming back.
A couple $100. That's insane.
Yeah. So, like your hand sanitizer theory and stuff, it starts to feel like is this a scam to get us to buy? You know, like the original...
I don't think it is. But
I don't think it is, but my mind is slowly opening to these things. Like, you know, the water, remember the old water conspiracy theory thing? Like, they're confiscating our water so that we'll have to buy water on the other side of security.
I don't remember that.
There was a lot
that. I thought you were talking about the LA water shortage situation.
No, I mean when you go through airport security.
That's what Chinatown is about.
Oh, is it
the
really?
Movie Chinatown, isn't it? Isn't that one of the themes? You're both looking at me, and
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
don't
That's
think
a deep cut for me.
Let's.
I thought you were talking about like
let's
China,
get this
like
back on.
LA Chinatown.
Yeah, the
like-
movie with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I not the movie. I thought you were the actual like right now. If you go there, like they stop you in the middle of the street. They're like,
no, but
you can't bring your water. That's what I thought. I was like, because you're in Chinatown, you gotta buy it.
It's Chinatown,
which
baby.
I was like, well, like, I was like, in a way, I kind of like, I was like, well, I can see that. Like they just stopped, like, no, sorry, you cannot bring your water, and then we'll sell you the water. I was like, all right, whatever. But that's what I thought. But then I gotta now see this movie now. It's about
how have
water?
you not seen Chinatown? You haven't seen Chinatown?
Oh, not in like 20 years.
Okay. I also don't even know it well enough. I was hoping one of you would either
No.
correct me or agree with
You
me.
see, if we had
I
our
don't
Brian
remember them.
producer
I don't
guy.
remember them being after Big Water, but
So the whole plot was about water?
No, it was about a woman who's I don't know. She's like she was it's about incest, I think. Yeah.
okay, that's better.
Wait a sec. We went from water to like incest. I was like, what? That took a big turn.
Tracks.
I was like, wow, okay. Yeah, you cannot have water because you're fucking your
But
brother.
to go back to the original point, though, I do understand these. Oh, sorry, were you still going to say something about Chinatown?
No, your original point, the water
The
conspiracy thing
theory,
with the TSA. Yeah, I do think that, like, like, that for me is conspiracy light. Like, the whole thing, I mean, a guy, I chalk that up to, I mean, I don't, the fact that we all got to take off our shoes because one dude had a bomb in his shoe.
Yeah.
And like all the stuff that we have to do, it seems kind of pointless. I think that there was like after 9/11, Oh my God, I'm talking 9/11 conspiracy. But I'm not. But I don't mean. But I'm not talking. I don't mean. I don't mean conspiracy like it was an inside job and people planted dynamite in the buildings. That's not the conspiracy I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the post 9/11. All of the money that was made with security, with things like those special machines that scan your body, and.
Well, I don't know if you've seen that show, Adam Conover, what's his name? That
Adam
show.
Ruins Everything.
Adam Ruins Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they had like one about like TSA where like he, because that show's
And
about
it's pointless.
And he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like it's all for show.
Yeah.
Like anybody. And I mean, I travel so
yeah.
much, and I go sometimes. I go like. They didn't check. I mean, I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this? Like, I mean,
yeah.
anybody can just literally walk in. I mean,
Yes,
Yeah,
and
can
it's
I say
so it's so random, the shoe thing.
The
Come
shoe
on.
thing, and I lost my hair gel. I've been traveling with the same hair gel for at least like 4 months, and it just got confiscated the other day in like Philadelphia or whatever. The lady's like, "This is too big." And I'm like, "I've been traveling with this. You're the first one.
Yeah.
You're too small, lady."
Yeah, she's the
You're-
terrorist. She's terrorizing you.
Yeah.
Just randomly taking a
Everybody
man's
else.
hair gel.
Yeah, everybody
It's
else
traumatic.
is through. So
yeah,
it's
I
very,
mean, like the random ones, the random things were like the beeps, and then it's like, sorry, you got randomly selected. It's
Yeah. What I was gonna say is that I think that after 9/11, if they had done nothing else other than just lock the fucking door to the cockpit, which they started doing.
that was never locked before.
No. Or maybe it was supposed to be, but they didn't. But that was one of the rules that they put into place. And now when the pilots eat or something, I think they like, don't they take the food cart and put it in front of the door?
So they're not like blocking.
That's a post 9/11
Okay,
thing.
yeah.
I think. And
yeah.
they lock those doors so you can't get in there and fly a plane and use the plane as a weapon. I mean, you go back to the olden days of, an occasional plane bombing. But like, I think in terms of like reaction to 9/11 for traveling, the difference in like safety between just locking the plane to the cockpit and making everybody take their fucking shoes off. The one is like a million times like makes more sense.
Yeah.
A million times makes more sense.
it does million times make more sense.
You know what million times makes more sense?
Well, but I mean, that is true. I mean, and like, but it's like, I think it's funny because like the things that you said, like now, like that was such a normal or like smart idea to do, and they weren't doing it even before. But like, people used to smoke on planes. Like that's like they actually had like in the back you can smoke, which is like we're in a fucking whole cabin. I mean, I remember when I was a little growing, like people were smoking. Like that's ridiculous.
I feel like the entire world must have smelled like cigarettes before 1999. Like, and nobody knew any different. Like it was just a natural smell of every building in every room.
And then when you're in a plane, are you like thinking, I mean, do you have thoughts of like, okay, when it's going down, how am I gonna like survival mode? Like, am I gonna,
No.
Or are you like suspicious, like this person's looking weird? Like,
I was around 9/11.
okay.
Now I was on a trip along on a giant one of those giant planes with the stairs.
Oh, with 2 floors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there was there was like a bar in the plane where people are just standing around. And
Nice.
I was talking to a guy that was an engineer. He was on the plane because he worked for the plane company.
Okay.
I forget which one.
TSA.
He was an engineer. He was going on the plane to go repair another plane. He was like a plane engineer. And
I meant TSA, not that. What was the one that was the airline that was called T something? TWA.
Oh, TWA.
Sorry, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. I was asking him questions about like, what's the likelihood of us going down? What turbulence? How scared should I be?
Those must be fun questions. We're gonna answer mid-flight.
Yeah, but he actually made me feel a lot better. He was saying that these days, the wings on the planes are constructed out of materials and engineered in a way where they can bend way more than they really would ever need to. So
Got
like that's it would be unheard of for like a wing on a plane to break. And he was like, I forget the analogy. I think it was like a stick in a stream or something like that. He was like, turbulence, like the plane is built to deal with turbulence. Turbulence isn't going. You're not gonna. Planes don't crash from turbulence.
Yeah.
If it crashes, it would be from something else. But what he did say, which was kind of frightening, was that, he was like, the turbulence, like you buckle your seatbelt and you're fine. But there are things, these like pockets of non-atmosphere where there's like, and the plane will just out of the blue, and you're not even in turbulence. Like occasionally a plane will just lose
like
altitude.
Got it.
Oh.
And if you're not sitting down, that's where you can hit your head.
Yeah, and he was like, that's why you should always wear your seatbelt. Because it won't just happen during turbulence, and those unexpected drops are where people get really hurt.
Oh, right.
I think I've heard of that's why.
I thought you were gonna say the classic of like when you were asking this engineer about the flight, because I got the weirdest answer one time. I was young at the time, but I remember asking when I just started flying on planes and stuff. I was probably 17 or whatever, and I was asking an engineer. I was like, "What is it if we're gonna crash, or why do we have to put our heads down like this?" And then he just looked at me and he coldly went, "Don't worry. If we're going to crash, the air pressure is going to drop so fast you'll be unconscious anyway." And he just left me. I was like, oh,
how old were you?
And I was about 17.
Oh my God.
I was like, I've never asked anybody anything else about a plane ever again. And never.
But I like that. You want to be unconscious.
Yes, you would. Yes.
I mean,
good job.
If you're gonna
if you're gonna die, you just want to be dead.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
You don't want to be like seeing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And have you ever traveled internationally?
Along the same lines, my girlfriend. What do you guys think? I'm just putting it because you just reminded me. I have this ongoing debate with my girlfriend. I would rather burn to death than drown to death. And I'll tell you, yes.
Are you crazy?
Because I feel like if you're burning to death, it would have to be like engulfed in flames. I'm talking, not a.
And are you thinking you'd pass out?
Like your nerves would just be burned off and you wouldn't feel anything. It'd just take like a no.
No, I mean it takes. It's like cooking like a piece of chicken. Like it's gonna be like. It's gonna take like 5 minutes of complete.
Well, no, you're not on low temperature. Yeah, you're not gonna cook.
I'm not talking about simmering on with a nice, olive oil.
Do you what you think of yourself?
I mean, what kind of?
He's talking about inferno.
But it takes a while to get to that. How
I think if you're in a fiery ball.
But like, how would you ever be in that? I'm talking about like in real situation, like.
I don't know. Someone kicks open my door and shoots me with a flamethrower.
Yeah, no, you're
but I think you still suffer. You don't die like that. You're still gonna suffer for like you're still gonna feel it.
Burned at the stake. Someone they used to burn people at the stake.
Yeah, you're gonna feel it.
How long are you burning before your nerves?
Yeah, that's 10 minutes at least.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
I don't.
You're not. This is where we need Brian to look at this stuff.
Yeah, since he's been having this argument with his lady friend.
Because I'm agree with your
girlfriend. We've been arguing. I haven't Googled anything.
Yeah. Does your girlfriend
see
drowning?
Which is the best thing for an argument.
She thinks drowning.
Yeah,
by far.
I would do drowning.
Far.
Yeah, I would do drowning too.
See, I don't ever want to have water fill up my lungs. That sounds terrible.
No,
right.
I mean,
this is very interesting. I would
do drowning for sure because I'm like. Yeah, I mean, like.
See, okay,
movies,
but this goes back. Okay, but here's the thing. By the time, your brain without oxygen dying is gonna take longer than your nerves being burnt to a crisp and not being able to feel anything. That's my point.
No, I think you suffer more. I mean, and let's talk about like how movies and TVs, why do they show more people always drowning? Because it's more of a better death than burning. Like it's always a bit, like even Titanic.
Yeah, because it's cinematically prettier.
But it's because it's also less soft. It's like
he makes an interesting argument.
Burning somebody is like that's more, to me, that's more painful. That's like you want to suffer more. Like if you're gonna make somebody suffer, like burn them. I feel so.
Yeah, but that's again. You're thinking
Well, you
about
answer, let
torturing.
me look,
You're
let me
thinking
take a
about
look.
torturing and cooking chicken. Okay. Look, I'm gonna guess that you're in the minority in this in that opinion.
Probably, but I
But
feel like
you make a good argument because if you lose, because I mean maybe that's why you see those is it Tibetan monks or whatever when they, on the cover of Rage Against the Machine's album when he's burning himself in protest or whatever and sitting there.
Yeah.
He's long since
you never
lost.
see people protesting by drowning themselves.
No.
It's always burning themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
More of a show, isn't it?
You
see,
see,
put a show on to get everybody's attention.
Now I put what hurts more, drowning or burning to death, and then the first thing I got is like suicide prevention. Like I think that Google thinks I'm trying to kill myself.
I want to kill myself in the most painful way possible.
What's going? Are you putting it out there? Did you find something? Oh, okay, he found something.
Oh, he's found it. Oh, we haven't done this before, Kevin.
Oh, that's cool. Great.
You're gonna help us break this is our screen virginity.
Nice.
Of like if this is gonna happen, if
this
we
is
get
the
all of a sudden
cleanest desktop
Get-
I've ever.
Yeah, right. I never. Yeah, that's just. So
we
what
get an
are you
answer
gonna? Are you gonna show us like a video or like a? No, show us a video.
He's just gonna show us people burning alive.
It turns into a snuff podcast.
Well, it's also like, yeah, no, I a million times better. I mean, both are bad. I mean, both of you are
Yeah,
suffering.
I don't
you
want to
know.
do either.
Yeah, me
Don't get
neither.
wrong.
I don't
I'm
wanna-
not
yeah.
looking to.
If you have
I'm not
to,
looking
yeah.
for
I'm not trying to decide
You know,
which to do.
I would, yeah. I mean, like, cause I also like, I feel too like I have experience with like drowning, cause I've, I surf a little bit and stuff like that. So I, when I,
Oh, you-
so like
you've
not drowned, but like almost like the feeling of like
Been caught
that
for air
when you
underwater?
get caught and you're trying to get up and because you know why you drown. You drown. I mean, it's because you're panicking. That's why you
Yes.
drown, because you're trying to, and the sea, the ocean is always gonna win. So every time if you're surfing or whatever, a wave cuts you, you literally gotta let it do whatever they want it to you.
Yes.
You die because you go, but like, and I've done that when I was little, and I done that, and it's that feeling of like, oh my god, I'm gonna almost die, you know, and you panic.
Holy
Yeah.
cow. Look at that, buddy. I'm
What?
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you up,
How
but
long
look at that. I'll read this for everybody. While your body may not fully die, this is burning. While your body may not fully die for some time, your brain will be able to tell within 20 to 30 seconds that death is imminent, and you will black out after a few seconds.
But your brain will not decide. But again, this doesn't.
So
how do,
drowning sounds like it takes longer and is more painful, regrettable. I mean, they're both regrettable.
but I think they're talking. Well, it says even in the bottom one, it says there were experiments done which shows that 240 seconds is what it takes to suffer acute. Well, that's because you're. But you're drowning too. You're not even burning.
Are too badly. This is so
I think-
morbid. Oh my god!
I know, this is-
Lungs,
we've
where your
taken quite a-
lungs are. I wasn't even thinking about your lungs are burning. Oh, so
This is
you're terrible. Why did I even bring this up?
Yeah, so you're also drowning in the smoke. So
Yeah.
you're both drowning.
Yeah.
It's both drowning. I mean, because you're not even burning because of
All
your.
right, okay, you make a good point.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
We don't advise either. Because
Yeah, I mean,
here
no,
on
you don't
the
wanna-
Stand By podcast, we're not
How long does it take to die in a fire? Can you click on that one?
but not your kind of fire, not your cooking a chicken breast fire, which I still
Well,
love.
that's what I'm
gonna
saying. I
do
don't
that
know what
always.
fire
it's
was.
like cooking a chicken breast. I can go over and put your hand on a skillet. Go, this will take forever to burn me alive.
Well, I mean, I would choose. Yeah, definitely. If there's a choice, drowning for sure.
I would just want end of Sopranos. Just turn that light off. Just boom.
Well,
you're
of
out.
course. I
You know
mean,
what
yeah. No, the
I
best
never
thing
saw
would
the
be
end
to
of The
just like
Sopranos.
go to sleep.
Can't
and-
believe you just spoiled the end of Sopranos.
Wow.
No, that was what I did. I just turned it off. Done. Dead to me. Didn't even watch the end. That fucking song came on. What? Just a hometown boy. And I was like, done. Sick of it. Sick of it already.
Yeah. So actually, yeah, it takes longer to die when you're drowning, though.
What did it say?
Yeah.
It takes 3 to 5 minutes. If a person submerged after breathing in, or 4
All
to
right,
6
I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back to
Yeah.
fire.
You have-
fire
you
under
have-
a
you-
minute.
under a minute because you cannot breathe because of the
Yeah.
carbon
And,
monoxide.
and
But
then you
also-
still
and
burn.
you know what? The other thing is they were talking about And then I swear we'll get back to travel. But,
I mean, we talk about everything.
I love it. We should do a jump cut of guests going, we'll get back to the traveling in a second.
But they're just talking about death from fire. I'm saying not the death, but the pain. My theory is that you if your whole body is engulfed in flames, your nerve endings, which are close to your skin, I think, they get burned off and they no longer work and you can't feel anything.
Yeah, I think
there might even be a moment while you're completely engulfed in flames where you're like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah, you get this little euphoric bit before your brain, as they said, knows death is imminent and just, floods you with adrenaline or whatever, and boom, and you're out.
You see, this person says it's actually better to be. It's worse to be burned to death than to be drowned.
Only over 20% of his body.
Yeah, but that was bad enough. And he says, like, there's no comparison. Like when you start...
Okay, well, wait a minute. That was anecdotal, though. So anybody who's been in a, like, if you've been shot, you'd probably say, oh, it's better to be choked or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's purely anecdotal.
You see, if you burn to death, God help you to make sure it's quick. Burning is horrible. It's far worse when I was burned. So it's like... The thing is, like, I think it's harder for you to burn to death than to drown. So, like, it takes, like, 20 to 30 minutes.
I can't. There are a multitude of ways. I've thought about many ways.
I'm talking about, like, cooking food, like, it takes a while for something to get
but
done.
Again, the food
when you
argument
drown
is
somebody,
that's
you're
not
like,
the kind of inferno we're talking about. That's like, that's like saying, like, you put broccoli in water.
Like, it takes a long time to cook a steak, but it doesn't take a long time to blacken a steak. Wait, is that when you take it and you just...
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about this anymore.
I think you've won. I think you've won the argument with that. I think when it said 20 to 30 seconds before your brain shuts off, I'm all for... I award... on our new podcast here, and on our new podcast, Which is the Worst Way to Die, I award the point to Kevin Sussman. Francisco, it was a good attempt.
Well, this is a good thing. Yeah, we can actually, when it comes out, we can let people also vote and see what they prefer, or hopefully they can let us know, like somebody be like, hey, I almost died drowning, but I felt bad. I don't know.
Now, we're not joined by our producer this week, so boys in the booth, how are we going?
Yeah, we're
5 minutes? What? Oh, okay. Oh, wait, what? All right, we've gone well over time.
Oh, yeah.
It must have been all the discussions of death.
Yes.
I can't read what that said.
106. So we have that. So we
Holy shit.
Yeah.
All right. So well,
we're drowning in our own
I've got the final question that I usually ask.
Well, I have one little quick question.
You go ahead.
I have one quick question because I wanted to ask before we went into this. Is like, have you also traveled internationally, and have you? Is there any places?
Recently.
Is there any places that you're like, that you really like and that you recommend, and also like any customs that you'd be like, I wish they would do this here in the U.S. or like, kind of thing, or like, or food.
I recently went back to Paris, which is one of my favorite places. I'd love it for the similar reasons why I like it more than New York. I like it for almost the same reasons that I like New York.
Mm-hmm.
I like being in a densely populated metropolis. I love architecture, and Paris is amazing.
Yeah.
And there are more spots in the city where you can like see the whole city. Because I don't know if they still do, but for a long time they had zoning laws. Like there's nowhere in Paris where you could build that would obstruct the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. And it has all that culture. You walk down they're not everywhere in Paris, but a lot of beautiful, gorgeous areas in Paris where you walk down the block and there's just shops selling like prints and poetry and I'm not going to read any of the poetry. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Look at that. People go in there, buy poetry. It's beautiful.
Right.
Paris is great. I was there like but like I remember actually I felt like walking around, I felt like homeless because of the way that I was dressed. Because everybody dresses so well, and I was like, oh my god! Like I had like a jacket, like I was like,
Did you have a cap?
Yeah.
Did you realize how American
Yeah,
the ball
yeah,
cap
yeah.
is?
Me
You
too.
don't
It's
until you
so-
travel and you're
Totally,
like,
I've
oh,
I was
wow, it's
recently
such
in
an
Rome
American
right
thing.
now. I went to Italy like 2 months ago, and like it was so easy to spot the Americans because
Yeah.
it was like I was like,
It's that
this
baseball cap.
it's a baseball cap, or they have one guy wearing like a Buffalo Bills shirt, like a sweater. I'm like, obviously he's American, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's true.
unfortunately,
Americans wear their sports jerseys when the team's not playing, don't
Yeah.
they? Every other culture is like, football or whatever. They'll wear it to the match. We're wearing it, but yeah, only in America, I'm wearing my good Bills jersey.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm wearing, going out with the
My
missus
church,
tonight.
my church jersey.
Yeah,
yeah.
my church jersey. Yeah.
yeah. But sorry, and I cut you off. Is there any customs or traditions or food that you'd be like, oh man, I wish they would do this here in the U.S.
You know, and this is why when you asked me to be on this podcast, I was like, oh, shit, because I'm a bad traveler in terms of, when I go away for work, like I have to force myself to leave my hotel room.
Right.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
So like I know, and I have gone to a bunch of different countries, and there's always someone who's like, oh, you have to try the local. And I'm just, even here in LA, like I'm not like a foodie. I don't know where to eat here, let alone in Italy. So what was the question?
You want to explain it better? Maybe I didn't explain it better.
Well, no, I mean, that's a pretty good explanation, but I guess we could sum up now that we're on the food tip. Is there a food or a dish or something that you've liked in other cultures that
or
you,
a tradition, like it's like,
There's
they
been
opened the
weird-
door
I've eaten
here.
Weird stuff. There's nothing that like I remember enough to be like, oh, you have to go.
I wish we had these in America.
To,
Yeah. Because here in LA, as you probably noticed, because I have it amongst my circle of friends, a lot of them, if they're from Australia or whatever, they have those shops that have all their Australian goods, so they
The
can get
pies.
yeah.
Meat
So
pies.
like we had Reese Darby on a couple weeks ago, and he's like the meat pie, the New Zealand meat pie, and
Yeah.
he loves having that here. So I guess in that sense. When you discover a food, but as you've said, you've never been that big on something that you're like, ooh, I wish it was in America.
I'm not a cuisine person.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking, because I did recently come back from Paris, and it's not a food thing, but it's one thing that I did
Enjoy.
take note of that I was like, why don't we have that here?
Mhm.
Is when you pay, you can just take your credit card and that little like
And that little
hologram
machine,
thing on
yeah.
the credit card, you just hold the credit card over the thing,
Yeah,
and it's like Apple Pay,
Yeah.
but on the credit card itself.
yeah.
And it's
Right.
like, why don't is that just, do they have that in other places of the country and just not in LA or what?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought, don't they have it now? They have it now, don't they? You can tap.
The little.
You could do that here?
Can you
The
tap?
little tap?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it
Yeah.
works.
On the
everywhere.
credit card?
Yeah.
You can tap your credit
You
card?
can do it now, yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I just never
So
tried.
it is here, yeah. No, it's just because you haven't been out of your place for a while.
Yeah.
It's a pandemic thought.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we
Oh,
do have,
Kev-
you go
Yeah.
in
Like, and I
here
just
and
go
like
that.
I
Yeah.
just haven't been doing
Kev,
it.
Oh, wow.
Kev, the world has
Oh my
changed, buddy.
Yeah.
The
Are you
the
still
world-
writing checks?
The world has changed while you've been in there. That is so great. We
That's
should
why
have
he was
said-
talking so much about 9/11. I was like, he's still in 2001.
Kev, you made the suggestion, and it's happened. You're the first guest to
Beautiful.
come on.
I want to go buy something
and what
and
to-
use that.
Yeah.
It won't work.
I thought you were talking
but
about the little
Along
machine.
the same lines, why is it that during a global pandemic they still make us sign the thing on the credit card
yeah.
machine?
Yeah.
How is that?
With
They're
your
why
finger.
do we have to take off our shoes? But during a global pandemic, you have to pick up the pen that everyone else that came in the store
Yeah.
has touched.
Also, yeah. Yes. And also,
Well, that's
why
why you have
does
the little
why-
things that you tap now.
But you
no,
still-
no,
they-
guys,
but
if
they
you have to
still
sign
make you
if have to
sign it.
Oh, in some
So,
place.
but
Okay.
also, why that friggin' pen, the exact pen that you're talking about, it's usually attached by a cord or whatever. Why do they lay it back down? There's a little hole there so you can stick it in.
Yeah.
So you can minimize your contact with the pen. But nobody ever. It's always.
Yeah.
I always gotta pry it out of that little crevice. You pry
Yeah.
it out of the crevice
Yeah.
with whatever comes with
Yeah.
it. Then I do it. Then I set a good example and I stick it in the hole. And then I look back.
Well,
2 customers later, it's back fucking lying in the fucking creamy, grotty
Two
thing.
customers later, you're like hiding on.
Yeah.
You don't leave the
Leave.
store. You just
No, I'm
hide laid out by the...
I feel that adamant about pen etiquette in the shop, and that it needs to go in that fucking hole that I stay to watch until somebody breaks my heart.
But there's also like places now that they have like the clean pen or the dirty pen. Have you seen that?
I have. I like that.
I like
Yeah.
that because I
Yeah,
feel
but
like
that should be a thing
yeah,
in
and
every store.
I always feel like the dirty pen. Someone's like, you little dirty pen. Like, I think they're like just pervert pens.
I think the theme from today's show is that we're all a bit lonely. You're dirty talking to pens.
No, because it's funny. Like the pen is like you write, like you grab the dirty pen, and it just makes you write dirty shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's a bit. I don't know. I'm trying.
Yeah, it might be. It might be, especially the way you say it.
Yeah.
Well, your eyes got a bit
dirty
smoky
pen.
there when you
Dirty
start
pen.
talking about the dirty pen. Kevin Sussman, you've been an amazing guest, man. You've been an amazing guest. I mean, this extra time has just fucking flown by.
Yeah, it flew
and
by.
a lot of firsts for us. This is the first time we got the screen out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
This
That's a
It's
first.
amazing.
And we debated death. This is the first time we've ever debated
Death.
styles of death.
which is good.
Kev, yeah, you've been a killer. We have one final question that we always like to ask our guests on the way out the door. Sorry,
But
did you-
before, where do people can find you, like in social media, before you answer this question?
Yeah.
Are you
my
maybe
Twitter is different than my Instagram, and
Okay.
I never remember which is which. So, Twitter is at Kevin Sussman.
Okay.
Oddly enough,
Yes.
and Instagram, which is just Kev Sussman.
Kev Sussman.
Sussman.
Okay, and then watching the new Hulu show that's
Yeah.
gonna drop.
It's not out yet. Yeah, it's
But
coming
it's gonna
out next
come, right?
year.
Yeah.
And then something else that I just shot.
What was the name of it again?
The other thing this is so.
I want to
dumb,
get to
but
this point, by the way,
yeah,
where
yeah.
I'm like going like, I shot something.
I'm making lots
You
of
know,
stuff.
No, I
I've
haven't.
done-
I actually
man.
I wanna
haven't
get
been
to this
doing
point.
much, but I had to sign a non-disclosure
Oh,
for this other
okay.
thing, and like
Yeah.
I don't even know what that entails. Like,
Right.
am I even allowed to? Is my
say that it's,
saying that I'm in it giving something away? I actually don't know what.
But
the
you don't
rules
even
are.
you
That's
didn't even
completely
say
understandable.
what it was, so we don't even
Yeah,
know what
you
you're.
just said it was a thing on Hulu, so you're good to
No,
go.
no, the
No, it's
Hulu
another
thing
one.
is the
So you haven't
Dropout,
even
and
mentioned
that I'm in an official capacity.
Ladies and gentlemen at home, look up Kevin Sussman. Follow him on the interwebs. You guys will love. I mean, you've loved everything that he's been in the past, haven't you, motherfuckers? So you're gonna love his new projects that are coming out next year that he's not allowed to talk about yet because, well, that's what an NDA is. So we've all done them. Have you ever broken an NDA and I just hope that it slides by? And I've done that before. I've let a couple of leaks out there and then just sat there for the rest of the interview going, oh, fuck me.
No.
And then luckily that phone doesn't ring.
I haven't booked the NDA. That's like I never had to even book.
It's coming. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
it's in the post, buddy. So Kevin Sussman, we like to ask one final question of our guests when we have them on, and it is just this: do you have one piece of travel advice that you love handing on to people?
Well, I mean, my main thing above that towers above everything else. I'm sure you guys have covered a lot on the show, but it's that the global ID, the global
Yeah,
you
global
know,
entry.
that thing, the global entry thing. Is that? I mean,
That's great.
When I go to the airport and I see everyone waiting on this long line, and you just go right up, and you don't have to take off your shoes for the most part, and all that other stuff, and it costs like $100
for
and
like
it lasts
5
for
years.
Like 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like I feel like I'm getting away with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is by far the best.
Yeah.
Hugely
like, travel.
convenient. And can I just say, like, so I'm in the middle of applying for it right now.
For the what? The global entry?
Yeah, which is called Nexus because I'm Canadian.
Yeah.
And it's been very difficult for me because I'm on work visas to work in America. So anyway, that's a whole lot of shit. But I will say right now, if you do it right now, it can be. I'm told it can be easier because they could do video interviews instead of getting.
That's
you to
how I
come
did
to
it.
places.
That's how I
Did you? All right. So
I had to renew my passport to go to Italy, and I did the thing, and I did it in a video Zoom call. There, like the lady was like, she was asking me in 5 minutes. It was so easy.
right.
I think because I thought I had to go to LAX and do the interview
Well,
there.
what I did was I had to go on a trip somewhere, and so I packed with me whatever the requirements were, like proof of your address or whatever, and then on my way back, from
Yeah.
the trip, like you know, you
Yeah.
get your baggage and then you go to the little office where you can apply for it.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I
And
did.
that's also it was pretty painless.
Yeah, it's very easy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I understand if you don't travel that much, but like, I mean,
If
for
you,
people
if
Yeah.
you travel
at least like twice a year, I mean,
Yeah.
like it's worth it. I mean,
Yes.
like
Well
yeah.
worth it.
And
yeah.
I even now use Clear. I don't know if you ever had Clear too, because Clear has helped me as well too. Because you combine Clear with the TSA, and with Clear, like you just jump. You don't even have. They just make you go to the first of the line. So even if there's like a
Ah.
big thing, some
I
most
thought Clear was this. Oh, Clear is in Clear gives because I didn't realize that. I thought they were
no, you use them both.
basically the same.
So like so like Clear, if Clear is like you can have Clear without the TSA, but then the
Yeah.
TSA pre. But if you combine both, then it's like if there's a big line for TSA, but you're still rushing, the Clear will pass you all the way to the front. So it's
how much
even-
is that?
That's I think it's 150 or 170 a year or something. Like that.
Yeah,
So that I use it too as well. I mean, I use all. Like I said, I want to get it
yeah.
easy as possible, quickly as possible. So whatever works,
Yeah.
I like
That's
it.
good. That's
so-
good. I got a good tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This podcast
Yeah,
was a
you're
success.
now you can use Clear and be drowned to death. Yeah, choose to be
And
drowned.
get out there and start tapping. Start
Yeah,
tapping
and then-
that card,
And
buddy.
then just right now go to your app and order a new card. You've been having the same card since 1999.
It's good. It's good. You came in here knowing so little about the world. You're leaving a changed man. Kevin Sussman, ladies and gentlemen. Buddy, you were an amazing guest. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you guys. This is
Thank you
great.
for having
Thanks
me.
for joining us.
Bye.